All right, so we're gonna just do the quick science article that you have for this week in your packet, but I'm gonna do it just a little bit different. I hope that you tried the other activities for science, but this is probably the easiest one for me to kind of help you with in some way to see if you're really understanding like what the article is about. So let me share my screen. The first thing I'm going to do is just read the article to you because I know it's tiny in your packet. And yeah, so it's called Life Cycles Metamorphosis, and we have a butterfly here. Um, the caption actually tells us that the monarch butterfly begins life as a caterpillar, it becomes a butterfly through metamorphosis. Okay, so we already know metamorphosis kind of means um, the caterpillar's changing to the butterfly. And I know a lot of you talk about things morphing, maybe in video games and things, so that kind of relates to this. All right, crawling caterpillars become fluttering butterflies. Swimming tadpoles turn into leaping frogs. These changes are amazing. They are one of nature's great wonders. The changes are called metamorphosis. Metamorphosis is a series of changes. These changes happen in an animal's body. The animal changes as it grows. It starts life as one thing, then it changes into another thing. So like the caterpillar turning into a butterfly. Metamorphosis protects animals. Metamorphosis happens in many insects. Scientists think it has a purpose. Metamorphosis helps these animals survive. It protects them from some dangers. Many insects go through 4 stages of change. First, the insect is an egg, then it hatches. It becomes a hungry larva. Next, it becomes a pupa. During this stage, it seems to be asleep. Yet, something important is happening. During this stage, the insect changes into an adult. All right, let me zoom in. At each stage, the insect eats different food. It does not eat the same thing as adult insects. This is good for the bug and its parents too. They do not have to share food, so there is plenty to go around. Metamorphosis also keeps insects safe from predators. A bug's body temperature depends on the weather. Cold weather means a cold body. So in winter, bugs move more slowly. They are easy targets. Hungry birds can catch them easily. Luckily, the pupa stage happens in winter. The pupa stays very still. Birds and other predators cannot spot it. This helps the bug survive, otherwise it might get gobbled up. The steps from egg to adult. Metamorphosis often has 4 stages or steps. The first is the egg. The mother lays her eggs on a food supply. She might lay eggs on a leaf, for example. So if you look over here in the life cycle of a butterfly, here's the first stage they're talking about. So this is like the mother, she lays her eggs. And then they said probably in a food supply, so right here, the food supply they're talking about is the leaf. Next is the larva stage. When the larva hatches, there is food waiting. The larva starts eating it right away. So here's our larva, and then it's looking like he's on a branch. So when they're born, they go and they eat the plant that the egg was on because it was laid there on purpose. The third stage is the pupa. In this stage, the insect changes. It becomes an adult. This takes a lot of energy. That is why the larva eats so much. So if we go back over here, okay, so our larva eats a ton of food, and then he becomes this pupa, which if you've ever looked at or known much about butterflies, they have that cocoon stage, which is what they're talking about because it takes a long time, a lot of energy. It looks like they're asleep because they, are wrapped up going through this change. Some kinds of pupa make a covering for this stage. A butterfly pupa makes a chrysalis. Okay, so right there's another example. A moth pupa makes a cocoon. Finally, the adult comes out. It is a grown-up insect now. It has 2 pairs of wings. It also has 6 legs. This insect will live for a few weeks. Mother insects will soon lay eggs. Then the process starts. I'm going to assume that was supposed to say all over. Many insects go through metamorphosis. So do other animals. Frogs, for one example. They begin life as tadpoles. Then they drop into frogs. So before we go into the frogs, so we're the pupa, they became the butterfly, and then the cycle just repeats. They lay the eggs, and it just happens over and over and over again. All right, so you could look up if you want to know more about kind of the frog cycle, but they're just saying they do the same thing. They start as a tadpole, they swim in the water, and then usually they grow legs, and that's when they come out and they can hop around and all those things, which I'm sure many of you know and are familiar with. If not, it's a good thing to look up and kind of talk about at home. So with this, I know there isn't really anything else that seems to go with it. However, on Shobi, I did post, if I can find it for you. So these are the questions. They're quick multiple choice. There's only 8 of them. It shouldn't take you long, but I'll just read through them with you quickly. And then you can fill it out in Shobi, just do some quick circling, and then you're done with science. So what is metamorphosis? Should be able to easily answer that. What is the section Metamorphosis protects animals mostly about? So it's the main point of it. How does a butterfly grow? Okay, so it's looking for kind of its cycle, but only part of it. And then it says, read the following paragraph. So you're going to read this. It says, at each stage, the insects eat different food. It does not eat the same things as adult insects. This is good for the bug and its parents too. They do not have to share food, so there is plenty to go around. So it says, what is the focus of this paragraph? So what is it mostly talking about? What's the point of it? What is similar about frogs and butterflies? Okay, that was at the very end of the reading if you don't remember. You can skip this part right here because you could circle it if you want in your packet. It just wants you to select the paragraph in the steps from an egg to an adult that gives information about the last stage of metamorphosis. So in your packet, you could circle that if you wanted, but you could, I guess, online type in what that sentence says down here on this page on Shobi. Number 7, when does a caterpillar become a pupa? And then which of the following is a section title? Okay, so you need to go back and find that. And then that's it for science.